everybody. Welcome back to Kavanaugh's Corner. As always on the channel here, I'm Andrew Kavanaugh, and I review 4K Blu-rays, physical media, even sometimes standard Blu-rays, stuff like that. So if you're a big fan of physical media, you've come to the right place, and I thank you so very much for clicking on this video. So today we're going to be talking about a brand new release. This actually just came out today, and that's August 26th, 2025, and that is The Conjuring. This is one of the big horror hits of the last, I'd say, like 15 years. Scary to think this thing came out 12 years ago already. But this movie is absolutely terrifying, and I'm usually not a big fan of movies that have a lot of jump scares. But this is one of the movies that kind of does it just right. And it's a really wild story. It's actually based on true events where this family moves into this house in New England. They start experiencing some really terrifying stuff going on in their house. And Ed and Lorraine Warren, two kind of renowned paranormal investigators, again, real people. There's a lot of liberties taken with the story. It is a movie, but it is based on a true story. How much of that is true is, up for debate. But I will say it does make for a really, really scary movie. And James Wan directed this, who also did the original Saw, and he does a really good job directing this. This is hands down my favorite of the Conjuring series, and I actually really love the cover of this too. That's probably my favorite moment from the film. It's just so creepy. Funny enough, this movie actually kind of hits a personal note for me because I didn't see this until around 2016 or so maybe about 3 years after this movie came out. I saw this after I had moved to Florida. I'm originally from Rhode Island, and if you don't know, the actual Conjuring house that all this crap supposedly took place in actually is in Rhode Island. And I used to live like less than 15 minutes away from it. Now, of course, in Rhode Island, basically, you're less than 15 minutes away from pretty much everything in the state, pretty much. I actually know where this house is, and I used to live not too far from where it was, and I drove by it a lot, ironically enough, and I never knew what it was. So this movie kind of creeps me out on a deeper level because I was so close to this supposedly very haunted house. But yeah, so every time I watch this, I kind of get a little extra creeped out because of it. Thanks to Warner Brothers here, we have this all-new 4K disc here. This is a 2K upscale, though, so that's going to come into play, and it has HDR10, couple new special features. So today on the channel, we're going to review the picture quality, the audio quality, and those special features. Before we go any farther, though, I just want to say big thank you to Warner Brothers Home Entertainment for sending this out. With any review where I'm sent the actual product, I always like to say that my opinion is not affected by the fact that they sent this to me. My opinions are mine and mine alone. I'm not asked to say anything good or indifferent about this product. Really, all I'm asked to do is just make a video about it. And Warner Brothers doesn't care what I say about it, as long as I make a video covering it. So just like to say that before we go any farther. So to jump right into the review here, I want to talk about the picture quality here on The Conjuring. And as I mentioned, this does have a 2K upscale digital intermediate, which means that the film is actually 2K, and it's being upscaled to 4K on the disc. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of 2K upscales, and this happens a lot with a lot of like superhero movies and movies that have like a lot of special effects. So this movie, as far as my research has shown, had a 2K digital intermediate, and that's what was actually sent to theaters. So there is no 4K digital intermediate of this film. So Warner Brothers had to work with what they had here in order to get it to 4K. Probably one of the many reasons why this has been on just standard Blu-ray for the longest time. Now, I do have this on Blu-ray, and I have watched it on Blu-ray in the past. And now watching this in 4K, there are some improvements, and the HDR on this does have HDR10. There's no Dolby Vision, strangely. The digital copy does have Dolby Vision, but the disc does not. Why, I'm not sure. But the picture quality on this is actually pretty good. It's not a giant upgrade over the previous Blu-ray, but I did notice that detail level has seen a little bit of a bump, especially in close-ups of people's faces and things. That's definitely the biggest upgrade in terms of detail level here. Wider shots, medium shots, not so much, but the HDR10 does do a really great job with black levels, and that's the big thing with this movie, because this is a very dark film in tone and in actual photography. There are a lot of nighttime scenes, a lot of things lurking in shadows, a lot of dark scenery in this movie, and the black levels on this disc are significantly better than the Blu-ray. That's the one big improvement I can really say. That's a night and day difference from the previous Blu-ray, those black levels. There's no black crush whatsoever. The blacks are inky and very well defined, but there's now a level of shadow detail on this film that was not previously present in that older Blu-ray, and it looks fantastic. Other than that, the HDR really does a great job of evening out skin tones and really making the colors of the film kind of pop just a little bit more than they did before. As I mentioned, it's not a huge upgrade in terms of picture quality. It's just little things that make up the whole of this film. It's just not a giant step up, and that's because of the source of this film. When you have that 2K digital intermediate upscale to 4K, it's not going to be a huge differential from the Blu-ray, but it is a pretty decent differential nonetheless. Now, in terms of audio quality here, this was a little bit of a letdown for me. This only has a DTS HD 5.1 master audio track on here, and that is pretty much the exact same audio track that was on the Blu-ray before. No difference whatsoever. The good news is that audio track is pretty killer. It's an awesome audio track. The little sounds around the house, the sound effects, the music in the film, everything sounds really well defined. It's a very loud audio track, and I really liked it. But again, it's not anything new. We've had this audio track before. There's no upgrades to be seen there. I kind of wish they did a Dolby Atmos track with this, or maybe even a DTS-X, just something just a little bit more to encapsulate that atmospheric sound, especially when there's a movie when there's sounds happening all around the characters, and it actually plays into the plot of the film. The DTS HD 5.1, it's not bad at all. I just wish we had just a little bit more than the original theatrical audio. It would have been really nice, but I would have loved to have seen just a little bit of an upgrade there. Now, as for the special features, there are 5 main special features on the 4K disc. One of them is called The Scariest of Them All, which is an all-new featurette that interviews the cast and the crew of the original film here. And they look at the scary moments of the film and talk about kind of the history of the whole Conjuring franchise. So kind of neat to see the actors and director and stuff look back at that. On top of that, there's another featurette that's called Reflections on the Conjuring. And this secondary featurette talks more about the actors and the filmmakers' actual experiences of making this film and the eventual franchise that it led to. There's also 3 older featurettes that are from the previous releases. There's one that's called Face to Face with Terror. That is an interview with the actual Perron family. Again, I may be mispronouncing that name, Perron or Perron. And that featurette is an interview with the actual family that dealt with the crazy stuff that happened that the movie is about. And then there's another one that's called The Life in Demonology that actually talks to a real-life paranormal expert, demonologist, whatever you want to call it. And they talk about their actual day-to-day life and work. And that's kind of an interesting little featurette there, because there are people out there that still do the same kind of thing that the Warrens did back when this movie takes place. And there's also another featurette that's called Scaring the Bleep Out of You, and that is an interview with director James Wan, and he gives a little inside look about the little scares and scenes of the film and how he kind of set up the tension and jump scares that kind of permeate this movie and a lot of other films of his, especially the movies in this franchise. But what did I think of The Conjuring? I thought this was a fairly decent upgrade. It's not the biggest upgrade from Blu-ray to 4K I've ever seen. That really has to do with the source material here. If it was a 4K digital intermediate, which sadly the film was not, then I think it would have been a much bigger step up from that standard Blu-ray. But you do get better black levels, you get a little bit better detail, and you know, the colors with the HDR10 are a decent step up. The audio, again, there's nothing new there. That was kind of a letdown, but thankfully the audio track that does come with the disc is fantastic, and there are a couple new special features. So honestly, I would say if you're a big fan of The Conjuring in this series, then I'd say it's worth it. But for everybody else, if you already have the Blu-ray, you're probably not going to want to get this 4K here, especially with the current $30 price tag. I would say wait for a sale before you go ahead and pick this up. But if you do want to get it, I'll leave a link in the description below that goes to Amazon. If you use that link, I do get a little bit of a kickback here on the channel. It's not a whole heck of a lot, but if you really want to help the channel out, definitely hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos like this. I really greatly appreciate you guys watching the video here, especially if you've come this far. The channel is growing at a massive rate. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. It's not my full-time job, although I'd like it to be. This is just one of those things that I do for the love of physical media, and it's just really a passion of mine. So I hope you come back to see me in the next video. Until next time, I wish you guys all the very best. Please stay safe, keep collecting, and take it easy.